Welcome everyone to this EHEDG Connects live webinar on the topic of hygienic design risk assessment. And this important topic is very current, and I will tell a little bit about that as an introduction while the attendees are coming in. 220, 21, so everybody's logging in from all over the world. Welcome everybody, nice to be here, I think, for all of us, because this is going to be a very interesting webinar. My name is Rob, I will be your host today, and this webinar consists of a 30-minute presentation followed up by a 30-minute Q&A session in which you will be able to pose your questions. If you look on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar control panel, you will see a chat function there that you can activate. And there you can enter your questions. In case your question is not answered today, our presenters have agreed to follow up on your questions via email later. So let's see how far we can get today. Now, a few words as an introduction to this very important topic, the hygienic design risk management. To put it in context, basically, after the Global Food Safety Initiative published its hygienic design benchmarking requirements, and consequently, the certification program owners started to adopt these requirements in their certification schemes. That is when the entire food industry realized that they have to come to terms with their hygienic design risk management, because hygienic design is now an integral part of food safety management. And that means that somewhere in the future, the processing environments will be audited also against these new hygienic design requirements. And these requirements were then the cause for EHEDG to start up a new working group with experts from the food industry, from all sides of the food industry, to develop a new guideline that would help the EHEDG members to get an insight to assess their hygienic design risk, and also to have a step-by-step approach on how to address these risks. And that guideline is about to be published in March, so soon to come. So this is a great time to do this webinar, and I am very happy to introduce our two webinar presenters today. We had some technical issues with the webcam, so I hope we will be able to see them. But if not, then we will be able to hear them and to follow their presentation. So the first one is Lucia Portanet. She is a food safety expert at Tetra Pak, and she's calling in from Spain. And the second presenter is Xu Yi, and he is also a food safety specialist, and he's calling in from China. Both work for EHEDG company member Tetra Pak. And without further ado, I would like to invite Lucia to start her presentation now, and I will come back to you all in the Q&A session in about 30 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Rob. We are really happy to be here, and I hope that although our webcams are not working, I hope you enjoy the presentation that we have prepared, and you get some tips to take with you. So as Rob was mentioning, well, why this guideline is needed. This guideline has been created to support all stakeholders in supply chain in their development of the hygiene design risk management. A little bit of the background on this and the origin. This guideline, the HDRM guideline, is one of the initiatives taken by EHEDG to support the implementation of the hygienic design benchmarking requirements published by GFSI. You can see here on the right side the faces, the time slot, and all the initiatives started and running up. And on the left side, you have a little bit what Rob had just introduced. GFSI came up in 2020 with the hygienic design benchmarking requirements, specifically the scopes J1 and J2 regarding food building and processing equipment suppliers and users. And these benchmarking requirements are being used by the certification program owners to take them into their standards, which is what later on the auditing bodies will be using during the audits. Basically, a key thing here is that the HDRM is starting to be a requirement, and we need to support on this aspect all stakeholders. What are the key points considered during this HDRM guideline is that it widens the scope of application. So as I was saying, it is including not only builders and equipment suppliers, but also food manufacturers. This I can tell you, it has been very interesting and challenging at the same time. All the working group with all different profiles and stakeholders that we have a challenge to achieve an alignment, and we have come up with a proposal that we believe it brings value to all of us. Then there is also that it uses the EH Hygienic Design objectives and principles. These are concepts that are available in doc number 8 from EH. And the hygienic design objectives, which are the prevention of ingress, the prevention of accumulation, and the prevention of growth, together with the 5 hygienic design principles, which are the ability to clean, to drain, to access, to segregate, and material compatibility, are aimed to prevent the contamination of food by chemical, physical, or microbiological food safety hazards or other contaminants. And this is used to support in this guideline for the risk identification and also for the risk reduction measures. Then it considers other risk management models. This means that the guideline provides additional support to us as suppliers and food manufacturers that have already introduced standards or method already available, like in our from our perspective, we are equipment suppliers, we are applying the EN 1672/2 and methods as HACCP or HACCP or FMEA. So this is a guideline which provides additional support. And last but not least, it allows the adaptation of the hygienic design level according to the context. EH position is that hygienic design should be applied at all stages in the food supply chain. But then the nature and the relative relevance of hazards and risk will depend greatly on the position in which you are placed in the supply chain. Will depend also to the exposure to the production environment, to the specific step in the product processing, and also it will depend what the expected risk reducing steps are available downstream in the process or in the supply chain. So as an example for this, HDRM model or the guideline itself can be applicable in a potato harvester and also in an aseptic filler, although the level of control of food control will vary in these two cases. Let's go with a little bit of the overview. So what is the objective of this guideline? Is to explain the approach of the hygienic design risk management and providing a practical checklist and examples that can be used for all to perform your own HDRM based on your own business situation. Which is the scope? So the scope applies to existing food manufacturing buildings and equipment, which is what we call legacy equipment or building, and also to the new. Within the new, it may be a new generic or bespoke food manufacturing building, equipment, components, and also utilities used for them. So what is the target audience? As I've mentioned before, it's all stakeholders involved in all these different phases, so purchase, design, qualification, fabrication, installation and commission, operation, cleaning and maintenance of food buildings and equipment, or any of their components at all levels of integration.